Welcome to a brand new episode of Energized. Ross, we have a special guest on the show.
We have Stevie, the Hitman McKenna. He's back in action this Saturday in Leeds. Stevie, how are you doing? And how's Monaghan treating you?
Yeah, I'm keeping really good. I'm all set for this fight. It's going to be an exciting show, and everything's been going to plan. So I'm 100% going into this fight and ready for action. It's been a long time coming with everything that's happened, and I'm itching to get back in there.
Yeah,
so
Stevie,
it's going to be a good.
Yeah, Stevie, how did this fight come about? Because obviously you're used to training over in sunny LA. Now in rainy Monaghan, you got a first-class flight straight to Leeds.
Yeah, my management team, I have a great management team. They've been working behind me, doing everything they can to get me a fight. So I'm very grateful that I have them, and Hennessy Sports as well for giving me the opportunity to fight on their show. And it's going to be great exposure for me fighting on Channel 5. It's going to be live on TV. So it's a great fight for me. It's going to bring a lot of exposure for me with the UK and Ireland fans being able to watch me. So I'm used to fighting over in America, and not many people can watch it as there's only streams available, but it's going to be tremendous for me fighting now back home. It's exciting.
Yeah. And Steve, roughly what time on Channel 5 do you think you'd be live at? I know it's hard to tell with boxing the exact time, but give us a rough estimate.
The broadcasting starts from 10 p.m, so it'll be from 10 p.m. to 12. That's the time, so it'll be anywhere in around from them times.
Yeah, Ross, we saw Stevie was back in action. We were like, we have to get him back in the show. We previously had him on the show, and he was telling us all about his training in Monaghan. But for people that haven't seen that interview, we'll put that at the very, very end. But Ross, we were really looking forward to seeing this one, and I'm sure a lot of the Irish are as well.
Absolutely. Obviously, you've done a lot of training with Freddie Roach, who's probably the most well-known boxing trainer in the entire world. Famous works with Manny Pacquiao. He obviously won't be in your corner this weekend, but who will be in your corner this weekend?
It'll be my dad and my corner, and Tony Dunlop from Belfast. We did a lot of work with him over the years, so Tony's a great coach as well. So I'll have both of them in my corner for this fight. Unfortunately, Freddie couldn't get over due to the circumstances, but he says he would have loved to get over, but unfortunately he can't. But he's very supportive of it.
Yeah. You'll have to find Channel 5 over on US TV.
Yeah.
You didn't get any messages from Kendrick Lamar to walk you out this time, no?
Not this time. In the future, yeah, we'll get him to walk us out sometime.
That's exactly it.
Steve, you know what? I can actually see that happening. You come down to Humble. You know that? I can just see it happening.
Yeah. That would be good. So hopefully now in the future when we're fighting for world titles, maybe.
Yeah. And are you just going straight over to Leeds? Are you gonna like stay there for the weekend and then come back and go like hell for leather again, or what's the sort of plan now? Because obviously you want to go back to LA at some stage.
Yeah, I'm gonna be focused on this fight, and then once I get this fight out of the way, I'll be totally concentrated, just stay in the gym, stay ready, and if we get back to LA, when things start to open back up again, then I can travel back. But if not, I'll continue to keep training away like normal and stay ready for what comes.
And will there be any fans in this bit indeed? Because obviously everyone's seeing what happened with Eddie Hearn with Matchroom Boxing having like his back garden as the stadium, you'd almost call it. But will there be fans there?
No, it's completely behind closed doors, so they're not allowing any fans in yet. But it'll be something similar to what all the shows have been like.
Yeah, sure. You're well used to that now with training at your own gym as well. So it's just it's a sparring session except you're getting paid.
Yeah, that's it. It won't faze me at all. So I'll be ready in there to do a job and complete it.
Class.
And Stevie, you recently found yourself very much in the news with a sparring session with Ryan Garcia. How did that go about? How did you come about sparring him? And he doesn't seem to think it went down the way you said it went down.
Yeah, I did an interview with Sky Sports, and they asked me who did they think would win the Campbell-Garcia fight, and I give them my honest opinion. And when Garcia seen it. He didn't like it, so he started putting things up on Twitter and taking it down, and then he started private messaging me on Instagram, spiteful messages, but he didn't like hearing the truth and what really happened.
Yeah, because like after like we know you for a while, and after having you on the show, I was like, there's no way Stevie will start beef with people. Like you just go in and get the job done, and then all of a sudden Ryan Garcia, one of the world's most known boxers, and now also a YouTuber as well. Stevie, what you make of that? He's also hanging out with the biggest YouTubers in LA on your turf.
Oh yeah, I just love to get him in the ring. That's my goal, to get, I'd love to fight him, so I would, and settle for once and for all. Maybe in the next year or two we could make the fight happen, but I'll continue to keep improving, keep getting better, and keep going up them rankings.
Yeah,
he seems to be boxing's number one troll these days, really. And I think you gave him a piece of his own medicine, and he didn't like it. He seems to be able to dish it out, but he doesn't seem to be able to take it.
Yeah, he spat out his dummy, so he did. He didn't like it. He can give it, but once you say anything to him, he doesn't like it. But he knows what happened that day. He knows in the spar with, but I pass no remarks, and I'll be ready when the time comes.
Yeah, I don't think he's realised how committed you are to this sport, because like you go in, get the job done, you eat, sleep, and dream about it. Like you've moved all the way to LA with your brother and everything. Like you're 100% committed. Where he's out partying, he's probably at these COVID parties that over in LA, and they're getting the job done. So it's people who are at the top. If they're not looking over their shoulder, they could be in serious trouble, especially when the hitman's coming up.
Yeah, that's it. You have to be 100% committed to this game.
Yeah.
If you slack at all in anything, it's the small percentages that make the difference. So I give it everything in my training and in the gym and outside the gym as well. So I want to make it to the top.
Yeah, especially with your brother just right by your side. You're both like trying to beat each other and everything. It's great to see. It's good, honest work.
Yeah, it's great to have him as well over in LA. That we can train with each other and push each other on. We're a good team.
Yeah. Was there any chance of getting your brother on the card as well?
I'm not too sure. Golden Boy's working on getting him a fight date, so once he gets a fight date, we'll know soon. But he's training away. He's training like a savage at the moment. He's ready to fight. So
yeah, so he's jealous. He's jealous of you right now, is he?
yeah. He wants to get back in there as well. So.
I see like McKenna bros eventually overtaking the Charlo brothers. Like the Charlo brothers are the most famous brothers in boxing at the moment, and like McKenna brothers are on the rise and they're going to take over.
Yeah, that's it. Hopefully now that'll be it.
Yeah, just a couple of other things, Stevie, because I know you're meant to be catching your flight today. I saw on the Two Johnnies podcast that you were hanging around with them in LA. Their TV show starts on Thursday, which is tomorrow. Are you going to be featured in any of the episodes?
No, I'm not. I don't think so. Anyway, we met up with them in LA, and we were at one of the shows. They're two gas men, so they are. Yeah. But they're hilarious. We got on well with them. They're two funny boys.
Yeah. Also, Ryan Garcia does go a bit viral doing the body punching the body. What's the body thing called exactly? Bodysuit.
The body bag.
Body bag, yeah. You're gonna have to. You're good when myself and Ross come and visit you in LA. You're gonna have to do it to both of us and see who can take it better.
yeah.
But,
no problem.
Stevie, can I ask you a question on Ryan Garcia on that? See the way he does that sort of punching thin air as fast as he can, sort of thing. It's like a load of uppercuts. What's the story with that? All I ever see is him do that. I never actually see him show or I never see him sparring someone, if you know what I mean. He never shows from his point of view. He's always boxing himself.
Yeah, it's just for the Instagram. It's just to make him look good. So he has a big fan base.
And then one other thing I want to ask on that is MMA and UFC star Henry Cejudo is looking to do a crossover, and he's called out Ryan Garcia as well. Would he be someone you'd be eventually interested in fighting to, build up your own name off the back of a win against him?
Oh, you never know in this sport. Anything can happen, yeah. So down the line, once the bigger fights start happening, then these things will come. But until then, I'm just going to stay focused on my route to becoming a world champion.
Yeah. There's also some big fights coming up, Stevie. Like, first of all, I want to start on the one that just went by with Katie Taylor beating Delphine Persoon. I thought it was 6-4 to Katie. I think, Ross, you agreed. What did you make of the fight?
Yeah, I had Katie winning as well. I had it 6-4. I thought Persoon was throwing a lot of punches, but Katie was making her miss. Katie boxed the fight brilliant. She couldn't have did any better against such a tough opponent, and she showed everyone why she's one of the greatest boxers ever to come out of Ireland.
Yeah, it was such a good fight to watch, wasn't it? Like, it had
everything. It was absolutely incredible. Persoon was like a zombie. She was like a zombie coming forward with those punches. But the way I looked at, I watched the first 4 rounds and I was like, Katie's definitely won at least 3 of those. And then I found like sort of 5, 6, 7. Persoon got Katie to come into her game, and then she started fighting her in the phone booth, which is what she shouldn't have really done. And then sort of 8, 9, 10, then Katie got back up on top and went back to her boxing roots and was picking her shots. And when she picks her shots, she's beautiful to watch.
Yeah, she's a brilliant, lovely style of fighting, Katie, once she started picking her shots. But she had to mix it up with Persoon as well to tire her out a bit. She comes forward, throws a lot of punches, and she's a really tough fighter. So it was a tough fight for Katie, and she showed everyone how good she really is.
Yeah.
Put it this way, you wouldn't want to fight Persoon to the death.
Yeah, she's really tough, so she is.
Cardio for years. But Stevie, there's obviously a huge fight coming up as well. Mike Tyson's taking on Roy Jones Jr. When you heard this was getting lined up, were you like, I want to be on that card?
Oh, yeah, that'd be some card to get on with Mike Tyson.
Yeah,
you never know if anything can happen. So that's a fight card you'd love to get on. Any fighter in the world would love to get on, but Roy Jones Tyson, what a fight it'd be.
Yeah.
It'd be good to see how Tyson is after such a long layoff. How he comes back into the ring, but he looks like a savage. He still has that same mentality, to go in there and kill. So it'd be good. Who would
you like for that fight?
It's a hard fight to call. Tyson. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough fight to call. Both 2 great boxers, but it's interesting. You don't know who will win it, really. If Tyson gets him out of there early, he could, but Roy Jones has a boxing ability to move and box, so it's a hard fight to call.
Yeah. Try and get on that card. That'll be all the eyeballs in the world will be on that night, you know what I mean? And then Kendrick Lamar definitely will walk out at that time.
That'd be unreal.
And then that's the night you call out Ryan Garcia. Get the win. Call out Ryan Garcia, and he's all yours.
Yeah, that's it. That'd be a fight I'd love to get.
That's class. Well, Stevie, best luck this weekend. We'll definitely be tuning in and watching. I'm sure everyone else who's watching now will be definitely watching as well. Because, round 1 KO, is that it? Just in and out?
I don't know. We'll wait and see what happens. The Hitman's coming, so my opponent better be ready.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to, you'll feel the wrath. But, Ross, anything else to say before we wrap things up? Let Stevie get back and catch the flight.
No, Stevie, just best of skill this weekend. You'll make us all proud, and go on, you good thing, you.
All right, thanks very much, lads.
Absolutely.
No worries. All the best, Stevie.
Make sure to watch Stevie this weekend. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and as always,
stay energized.
All right, so that was Steve McKenna on the show. Ross, you hate him, don't you?
No, absolutely love him. Oh, what an absolute gentleman. We'll have to get his brother on the show, actually, because we've had Stevie on twice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the Silencer, I think, is his brother's nickname.
It is, yeah. It's we saw that Stevie was back in action. Obviously, his brother is not, so we were like, right, get Stevie back on. And because there's big things to come. And I think it's going to be like one of the first times a lot of Irish people are going to be able to check him out, knowing it's on TV without having to get some bootleg streams. But Ross, there is some MMA we want to go over because we haven't done an MMA show since the build up to UC 253?
52.
252. So that was Cormier against Miocic. Obviously, Miocic won by decision. Cormier has now retired. John Jones has now vacated the light heavyweight belt and he's moving up to heavyweight. There is talks of Brock Lesnar coming out of retirement. So if you enjoy MMA, may as well stick around. Ross, where do we go from here, man? That's a lot of bombs to be dropped.
Well, let's start off with the light heavyweight division. We have the title fight for the light heavyweight belt. It's going to be at UFC 253. Dominic Reyes will fight Jan Blachowicz for the title. But there's plenty of other sort of light heavyweight bouts that are interesting going around at the moment. Thiago Santos is coming off that like double knee injury to fight Glover Teixeira. Who knows whether he'll be the same. He's a massive contender for the belt if he comes back as hot as he was before.
Yeah.
Rakic just beat Anthony Smith in the light heavyweight division.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's that 253 belt. Barry, in 6 to 8 months' time, who has the light heavyweight belt? Also, Rumble's returning in January or February. I almost think when you say that out loud, you're like, probably Rumble. Yeah. And then who knows if Gustafsson comes back down to 205.
Jesus.
Because Gustafsson might go, you know what, now's my chance.
That was an absolute curveball, Gustafsson, if you hadn't mentioned him. I was thinking Thiago Santos, but like obviously with the knee injuries he sustained against John Jones, like he took a serious beating. I think he'd have less damage done if you're in a car crash. But
in fairness, we were on the phone the other day and go, John Jones actually leaving this division makes it so much more interesting. Because like you're almost like teeing someone up to fight John Jones to lose.
Yeah.
As opposed to now you're like, who actually is the best of the rest?
Yeah.
And there could be a lot of belts passing around here.
Yeah. I think the Gustafsson call is just after wiping out every other possibility. Gustafsson versus Rumble at some stage would definitely be a pay-per-view.
A rematch.
That would be something definitely to watch.
I do think Reyes will beat Blachowicz. And I feel like he'll probably fight. If Glover Teixeira wins, he beats Santos. That's 5 wins in a row. He's probably going to have to fight for the belt. And I can see Reyes versus Glover. I think Reyes versus Rumble would be interesting, and I think Reyes versus Gustafsson would be interesting. Yeah. Both because they're like Gustafsson and Reyes, like they're both very long. They both like to keep it up on the feet. And then Rumble versus anyone is interesting just because he has the ability to knock anyone out.
Yeah. Well, I think we both agree that Reyes is definitely in the top 3 conversations. Yeah. Arguably, he beat John Jones before. I know he didn't get the judge's decision, but that was like everyone was split decision on that. So like I think we're looking at who's Reyes. Reyes will probably get to the belt first, and then he'll take on either the Gustafssons or the Rumbles because he's going to want that payday as well. Because like
they are the stars.
Yeah, that's really it. Because like if you're not, people are going to be like, that's John Jones' division, blah 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 blah. But over time, people will forget because if you look at the featherweight division, Conor McGregor's division, he won, and then Max Holloway just went on like a tear of defending the belts, and no one ever turned around and still said it was Conor's division. So if Reyes picks up the belt and goes on a long tear, who knows? Also,
there's there's also a dark horse in that division. My mate, Yuri, the guy from Czech Republic.
Yeah,
the guy who you'd never be able. His name's harder to say than Joanny and Jacek.
Yeah. I would like to see him against Johnny Walker.
Johnny Walker, yeah. And Johnny Walker's another curveball. Like, if he gets 1 or 2 knockouts, people are like, put Johnny Walker in there for title fight because he's exciting.
Yeah, because he was getting a push. He was getting a push there for a while, and then he obviously lost. But
he ran to Corey Anderson.
Yeah, let's see if he gets on in SBG Ireland as well. Because
Will Fleury's giving the run around there.
Will Fleury is giving him the run around. Shout out Will Fleury. Another tip man mentioned on the show. But Ross, John Jones, as we said, has vacated the belt. He's now moving up to heavyweight. What can you expect from John Jones at heavyweight, Ross?
Well, I think each matchup has to be almost taken as an individual case at heavyweight. And I think Dana's sort of come out and said it's going to be Stipe versus Francis next. Stipe's like, I've already beaten Francis. It was quite convincing. I'm not actually that interested in fighting Francis again. I'd rather fight John Jones again. John has come out and said, me and Stipe are actually more similar in size than Stipe and Francis are, and that could be more interesting. I actually think Jones has a better chance of beating Stipe than he does Francis, because I feel like Francis is going to eventually clip someone, and therefore they will be knocked out. And then you throw Brock, you throw Brock Lesnar in the mix and makes it very interesting. I think there's only 2 people John Jones can fight if it's not for a belt. I feel like you can put John Jones in there against Ngannou. I feel like you can put him in against Brock Lesnar. And the only probably third person, maybe if I did extend it to third, is I could see John Jones versus Alistair Overeem. and like people will be interested in that. They're the only three people I'm like, right, John Jones versus them at heavyweight. Give it to me.
Some interesting matchups. Like, I mean, how many times are we going to go over Lesnar coming out of retirement? But Pico
But
Grams.
he's a free agent now.
It could be a battle of the Pico Grams.
It could be. He is a free agent now. It'll be interesting to see where Brock Lesnar goes. Bellator came out and said, geez, the Fedor fight would be good. Brock versus Fedor. I wonder, would AEW try and get him into fight like Chris Jericho in a wrestling match? I'm sure that could sell some pay-per-views.
Talking about Brock?
Yeah.
That's such a random shout. Yeah, carry on.
But I'm trying to think of like who has like the draw to get the money to get him in.
Yeah, no, that's why I didn't want to interrupt your role because.
And then you have obviously John Jones. Like they're the three. They're Brock Lesnar's three options really.
Yeah,
he can fight Chris Jericho in wrestling. Yeah. He can fight Fedor in Bellator, or he can fight John Jones in the UFC.
Yeah, you see, this is so random, right? But Roman Reigns was obviously a WWE fighter. I think he or his kid had leukemia, something that they were sick. Anyway, he did. Okay, yeah. So he left WWE. Now he's back. He's after coming back after some pay-per-view last weekend. I think it was last weekend. But now he's turned heel. So therefore, who's Paul Heyman?
Paul Heyman
is now his pallbearer to Undertaker. The way he was.
No, he's his manager.
Lesnar. Yeah, he's his manager. Yeah. So, and that used to be Brock Lesnar's manager in WWE. So now Paul Heyman has now moved on to Roman Reigns. And Brock Lesnar is now a free agent. So I think they've already written the story. They've written Brock Lesnar out of the story. So who knows?
Interesting. Or WWE are very good flipping it. What if Brock Lesnar comes back and fights Roman Reigns?
Or Brock Lesnar's become babyface?
Yeah.
No way.
Who knows? Like you know what I mean? Brock Lesnar, the thing about him is he doesn't actually give a shit what anyone thinks about him. Like he's just looking for the biggest payday. And I wonder, will that harper Brock's return to any form of action? The fact that COVID is going on, there won't be a live gate. And obviously when you put Brock Lesnar out there, you want the live gate. And without the live gate, you obviously can't pay him as much. But I don't know if Brock Lesnar will accept that he shouldn't be paid as much.
I know this is the conversation we're having about Conor coming back. And, I mean, there's so many like ups and downs and loopholes and everything we can get into. But at the end of the day, I think Dana White has to sit down and realize there won't be fans in any building, and let alone Conor McGregor fight, because the more rowdy people are, the more like just it's going to get shut down.
Yeah, if I had to put my money on it, I would say the UFC is probably in the driver's seat. If I was really honest about it, I feel like they've dealt with Brock before. He knows what they're about. I could see him and Jones doing a press conference where they actually get to the fight and actually pass all the USADA drug tests in time. I don't know, but I could see that definitely happen. I think with Bellator, Brock would have to then go out and get a load of sponsors for himself, and there'd be a bit more effort for him to do there. And then with AEW, he might like ruin a chance of ever going back to WWE. So I don't know if he'll go there. But that's the way I see it. Brock Lesnar will definitely show up at WWE at least one more time at some stage in his life.
Yeah, definitely.
But why not go to UFC, make 15 million, fight John Jones one time? There you have it.
Yeah, all he has to do is wrestle him as well.
Exactly, and like if you actually pull Ngannou versus Miocic and John Jones versus Lesnar on the same card, that would be a massive pay-per-view, and would also make either Stipe or Francis a far bigger star than they are right now.
Well, what do you think Dana's sitting there thinking now? Because obviously we haven't been doing as many MMA shows because the cards have been shite. And we said before, like, we're not going to be doing UFC Russia cards when it's a fight night and no one knows the fighters. And we're not overly enthused to do it as well because we better things to be doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what Dana's going to have to sit there now and be like, right, people coming into the arenas isn't going to happen. He obviously hasn't announced Fight Island again yet. There's something that, like, these Apex fights hasn't been getting people's chins wagging compared to Fight Island. And then obviously I think they're going to kick that back off again with Adesanya versus Costa, which is going to be huge. We're going to be here for that.
Yeah, I do feel that. I was saying to you the other day that the Apex has a Ultimate Fighter feel, that you feel like you're watching an Ultimate Fighter fight, except at times it's the best guys in the world. As opposed to, I think when it was a Fight Island, it had a bigger fight feel to it. And that wasn't just the fact that it was a different country or that it was called Fight Island. I think the arena itself made it feel like it was a bigger event than it was the Apex.
Yeah, because also Dana does this Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. That's on a Tuesday as well, and the Apex as well. You know.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a bit of saturation there that they've used the same venue too many times in a row.
Yeah.
You just want to see something look slightly different.
Yeah.
I think
putting
that
shows every week. They're putting out shows every week, which is obviously very hard to do. And like, fair play to Dana for getting it done, but like they're probably oversaturating the product.
Yeah, I think that's a definite possibility. And the cards that they're putting on aren't fantastic as well. So that definitely makes you less interested as a fan.
Yeah. Ross, I also think I've heard through the grapevine that Bellator Dublin isn't going to be happening, but they're going to be fighting over in Milan.
Yeah, I have heard similar ruptions as well. I always thought the Milan cards were quite kickboxing heavy.
Yeah.
And they weren't quite MMA heavy. Look, I'm happy just for Bellator to put on a show. So many of those fighters need to get a fight under the belt. The only thing is, I feel like a lot of the Irish fighters will miss out. Some of the Irish fighters, I think, with a bigger name will get themselves on the card, as opposed to all the ones who are supposedly scheduled on the Dublin card might not get that shout that they thought they were going to get. The last Dublin card had, 19 fights on it? That's a lot. Bellator really... One thing I will say for Bellator is they go out of their way to get everyone a fight on the card.
It's giving all these Irish people a job.
Yeah, which is brilliant for them. It really, really is.
Yeah, they're meant to be doing three nights in Milan, so I don't know if it's going to be the same sort of Cage Warriors situation, but we'll be obviously keeping people up to date with that, because we'll obviously have a few of the lads on the show and the build up to that. Because I like having Stevie on. It's just, you know what I mean?
Oh no, absolutely. It's good to let the people know what's going down. But before we sort of wrap things up, Barry, I want to finish off this heavyweight division. Let's just say, on a hypothetical, UFC 260, Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou. Co-main event, Jon Jones versus Brock Lesnar. Who wins each fight, and who's fighting for the belt?
I think Miocic will beat Ngannou. And it would only be 3 rounds, Brock Lesnar and Jon Jones then, wouldn't it? I'm just going to have to go with Jon Jones.
And then who wins between Jones and Miocic?
Jon Jones.
There we go. Jon Jones will be the next UFC heavyweight champion after Stipe Miocic.
Yeah, there's a few more things I just want to go over, because this is going to be obviously our own show of the week. This weekend, the UFC is on. Alistair Overeem is taking on Saki, and it's not Gokhan Saki. It's like that half Brazilian.
Sakai.
Yeah, Sakai, the half Brazilian, half Japanese lad. So that's such a random fight as well. Obviously, Steve McKenna is on this Saturday. That's going to be on Channel 5. He said earlier, Ross, the card's going to be kicking off around 10. Actually, can't wait to see that. Then Ireland are playing in the Nations League this Thursday and this Sunday as well. So that's going to be Stephen Kenny in charge of the Irish football team. So that's going to be very interesting. Leinster are playing Munster on Friday in the Pro 14 semi-finals as well. And then Joe Rogan's finally moved over to Spotify, Ross.
Yeah. Did you watch Joe Rogan's yet? I haven't seen it yet.
It's like 5 hours long with Duncan Trussell.
Yeah, I saw that. I was almost a bit disappointed that he didn't have some random guests he's never had on before.
Yeah. I hit it on Spotify. It's just the exact same as YouTube, except it's on Spotify and it actually shows videos. So I wonder if this is going to go from that. If you're on Spotify,
I was actually hoping. Has he moved to Texas yet?
It doesn't look like it. It looks like he's still building.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Though I almost wish his first episode was in Texas, so it was definitely something to make sure you don't miss.
That was probably the plan, but COVID's probably changed things around. But I would have really, really liked to have seen Joe Rogan sitting there with Chris D'Elia and Brian Conn. That is a show I don't want to miss out on. Did you see, like, obviously, Brendan Schaub with the fighter and the kid? Brendan Schaub was actually previously meant to come on the show before all this sort of Chris D'Elia, Brian Conn stuff came out, so that's actually disappointing. But he started a new podcast with Brian Conn again called The Fighter and the Rinks, put on Patreon. They only did one episode and then they had to like cancel it. Then Brian Callen went on Stephen Crowder, talking about his incidents.
Oh, I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, I made sure to check that out. But I found it really, really strange that his friend Joe Rogan of 25 years wouldn't have him on his show. Nor has Joe Rogan mentioned anything about Brian Callen as well in all of the shows since this came out. And obviously he hasn't mentioned anything about Chris D'Elia as well. But it's funny how you can be mates with someone for 25 years and then you can't give him your platform to
defend
himself, especially if he's innocent.
Yeah, it's a very strange one that Joe Rogan sort of wiped his hands of it, because he seems like someone, if Spotify were like, you can't have them on or anything like that, Joe Rogan would be like, well then piss off. You know what I mean? Like that's who I would have thought Joe Rogan was. So I don't know, maybe he knows stuff we don't know.
Who knows what's going on in the background, but make sure to check out Beige Frequency. They've done videos on Brendan Schaub, Chris D'Elia, and Brian Callen explaining all the everything that's happened in the build-up and what's happened after, and it goes into depth. It's really, really, really cool. But Ross, that sort of wraps up the show. Like, it was great to have Stevie on. We've told everyone what's going on this weekend. We're obviously going to be back next week because obviously the Premier League is back then. Like, there is UFC on again. The big one we're looking forward to is UFC 253.
Yeah, Adesanya Costa will be lit.
Yeah, so you had everything in this. Make sure, if you are new to the channel, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and as always, Roscoe,
stay energized.
Stay energized.